A potential tornado outbreak is possible tomorrow, as well as some widespread snow into portions of the northern plains into the Great Lakes, as well as Canada. How impactful this will be and when it will impact, keyword there is when, because it may surprise you, will be answered later on in the video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I'll go by Hockey Boy Nate. We have a lot to talk about today, so if you guys are new to my channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date with all the latest information that I do provide, as well as like the live stream so that we can get this information out to as many people as possible, essentially helping me spread news about this potential severe weather event. That'd be greatly appreciated. And let's get straight in with the satellite imagery here that we have in front of us. We're taking a look specifically at infrared satellite imagery, and we have a couple things to make a note of. First off, like what I said in yesterday's video, we do have the residual amounts of snow into portions of the Great Lakes. You have that low pressure system that's moving on by. You also have a new low pressure system that's going to be starting to form here, and you can already see the impacts that it's creating into portions of the Sierras, as well as heading off into the Rocky Mountains. Some rain and snow showers are possible across portions of the southwestern portions of the United States, but we can expect this to eject through here into the mid portions of the United States and create some impacts for areas along the Mississippi River, and I will show you that here with the Storm Prediction Center. And here is the Storm Prediction Center's take on this event. You have this massive outlook here, which can predict severe weather, an assortment of colors, which means specific things. So if you're in the light green, you're just in a general thunderstorm risk, so you guys are not primarily in the threat for at least Friday into Saturday. Then we have the dark green, which is a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. You have the yellow, which is a 2 out of 5, and then the orange, which is a 3 out of 5. And anywhere within this orange area, guys really need to watch out for. We have some major populous areas at the bottom part of your screen, like Memphis, Nashville, Evansville, Clarksville, and Jackson. If you guys live within those areas or around those areas, I highly recommend watching out for this system. I will be live streaming tomorrow night, providing some analysis as to where some of these thunderstorms actually could be, how significant they could be, and how strong it could be a little bit later on. So if you guys do want to watch that live stream, please stay tuned to the channel and turn on channel notifications to stay up to date with whenever I do start that live stream. I will be telling you guys tomorrow morning when I upload my video, basically talking about the timings of the event. So just stay tuned to the channel if you can, because that will be a good identifier as to when I will be live streaming. Now, the main threat here for this event is going to be the tornadoes, and you can see we have a 2% indicated in green, 5% in brown, and then a 10% in yellow. So wherever you guys live within those percentages, that is your chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of a point. But you also have this black circle with dotted lines in the middle inside this 10% risk. And that means that you have a 10% chance or greater of seeing an EF2 tornado or stronger within 25 miles of a point. And that's the thing to be concerned about, is that there could potentially be some significant tornadoes within that area. So this is definitely something that we're going to have to watch for. We'll have a better idea as to when and where this will exactly impact, or at least around exactly where this could impact by tomorrow's video. And this isn't just for Friday either. As it heads into Saturday, we also have a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale here indicated in this giant dark green. So a big swath of severe storms could be coming through. Of course, in my opinion, I don't think it'll be as significant as the day prior. However, if you were to anticipate where the strongest weather could be, it would have to be somewhere along the Western Carolinas into Georgia and Alabama, because there is enough energy over there for there to be severe storms that could be significant. So I'll definitely keep you guys up to date with that as we get closer and closer to that event. But right now, the main priority would have to be Friday into Saturday. All right, so now we're going to want to take a look at the weather models here. And of course, the timing is above me in Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in Central Standard Time, you're going to have to subtract 1 hour. But otherwise, right now we're going to take a look at the simulated radar just to give us a general idea as to what could potentially be happening. And of course, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, we do have some snow around the Great Lakes, so the verification with this model is true so far. So let's just go ahead and get an idea as to what could potentially happen. And of course, I know we're in the afternoon to the evening of Thursday, overnight Thursday. You might get some more residual showers into portions of the Northeast as well as Ontario and Quebec. But this is where things really start to get interesting. As we turn the page from one day to another. You can see that there's a lot of snow and ice that starts to congeal into portions of Minnesota as well as the northern plains, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video with the snow totals. But this right here is what we're going to want to watch out for. We have this massive band of storms that start to form. You can barely see some of them down here, but believe me, if any of these can start to get into the right environment and start to fire off, they will fire off. And you can already see that there's a couple of these red and yellow splotches all around the Mississippi River. And this is something to watch out for, because depending upon how many there are can determine as to how significant the event could be. For instance, if there are more red and orange splotches, that means there's more thunderstorms, which could signify that there could be more supercells capable of producing tornadoes. And especially since the environment in this area is strong enough and conducive enough to do so, that's the thing that we're going to have to be worried about in order for there to be severe weather. So don't think that even though you may not have a red or an orange on your screen, that does not mean that you will not get the event if you are in that 3 out of 5 in that risk that I showed you earlier on in the video. And as we play it along here still, you can see the line continues to linger and even amplifies into one giant consolidated line into the midday hours of Saturday. And this is when things can get really interesting, because you guys can see how widespread this actual line is. And that's the reason why there's a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale on Saturday too, which could create some strong damaging winds and the potential of maybe a tornado. The big thing here that is consistent with the weather models is that this will be happening from the evening to the overnight hours. So you will have some storms that will be overnight, and that could potentially be an issue for many people, as you won't be able to see these storms coming without any knowledge of a radar or the National Weather Service. So please stay safe out there while this event does occur. So now we're going to want to dissect this event as best as possible. We're going to take a look at multiple layers of the atmosphere. So one could be higher, one could be lower, one could be towards the ground. But for right now, we're going to take a look at the 500 millibar wind shear, which is about 6 kilometers above ground level. And you can see here that there is a lot of wind shear currently indicated in these oranges and even greens across the United States. But these are the two areas to watch out for. This one over here near California, and then this low pressure system that's right off of Baja California in Mexico. And what's going to happen is that this area is going to kind of merge into one, to where this southern low pressure system is going to disintegrate, and then the northern low pressure system is going to start to amplify. And because the southern low pressure system disintegrates, it turns into wind shear itself and essentially amplifies this entire area over here that we are watching for with the Storm Prediction Center. So watch here. Big ejection with this trough here. You can see the northern low pressure system is still alive. The southern one now has turned into wind shear. And this is what's going to create our risk here from Friday into Saturday. And look at this. Even after the late evening into the overnight hours, this thing continues to get stronger and stronger. You can see it, the max at the bottom right-hand part of your screen. The maximum wind shear for this at 500 millibars is 131 knots, which is pretty insane if I do say so myself. So it's going to be one of those things to where we're really going to have to watch out for how this continues to portray, the timing of when the wind shear starts to amplify, as well as how the energy combines with all of this as well. And we're going to take a look at where the energy can be within the 850 millibar wind shear, which is right about now. So if you take a look here, this is the 850 millibar wind shear, which is about 1 kilometer above ground level. So a little bit closer to the ground here. And you can see here on the Friday morning hours, there is starting to get some wind shear into portions of Texas and Oklahoma, but that's not the main risk. What's the main risk here is this area over here in the Mississippi River Valley. And look at this, the wind shear really starts to ramp up, and you get a lot of this strong wind shear coming from the Gulf of Mexico, bringing a lot of warm, moist air into the general area, meaning that there's going to be some warm and muggy conditions out in front of this area, creating a lot of moisture. And because thunderstorms do like moisture, that is definitely not the best case scenario there for this event. We can see that here with the dew points as we go from Thursday night into Friday. You can see the dew points start to advect, meaning move north all the way up into the Mississippi Ohio River Delta. And look at this. big dew points across the board of 60s to even upper 60s. And then you have this very sharp cold front here that's going to create a lot of strong damaging winds. And that's going to eject on through, creating some substantial wind gusts and potentially some storms that are conducive enough to even produce tornadoes. And look at this, all the way through into Saturday, this cold front continues to stay alive. And that's going to be the case here as this cold front continues to move on through to the eastern portions of the United States. That's the reason why there's a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale as well. So I talked about the moisture impact with this, but what about the energy levels? The convective available potential energy, or CAPE, which is just basically the warm air rising and the cold air sinking in the atmosphere. The displacement between the two can indicate how much energy there is in the atmosphere. So the more displacement, or the larger the displacement, the more CAPE, the more energy for thunderstorms to either form or sustain. Now, in this case, you're going to want about 1,600 to 2,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE in order for there to get strong thunderstorms that are capable of producing tornadoes. So what we got here is what the CAPE levels are now, which are Thursday midday, to what the CAPE levels could be on Thursday into Friday. And look at this here. On Friday evening, the CAPE levels do start to move further and further north with that moisture. And you can see how it extends all the way up into Illinois as well. But it's just basically this massive area right here of CAPE that's just right next to the Mississippi River, in upwards of 1,500 to even 1,800 in some spots. And as this continues to move on through, you can see the CAPE continues to stay out in front of it, even though it starts to weaken more and more as you get into the early morning hours of Saturday. You still get some CAPE, so you could still get some showers and thunderstorms. Of course, they may not be as significant as they were the day prior, but you still can get some activity, and that'll continue to reside even into Saturday heading into Sunday. So energy will not be an issue on Friday. It may be a little bit of an issue on Saturday, but I won't let that discourage me from thinking that there could potentially be some strong damaging winds in those areas on Saturday. And the last thing I want to go into, which I have never brought up onto this channel until now, is the 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity. And in this case, what helicity means is winds veering with height. So in this case, how much wind is veering that is favorable for these strong thunderstorms to produce tornadoes from 0 to 1 kilometer above ground level. So here we go. If you typically have above 150, that's good enough for these supercells to form. But as you can see here, we already have some areas that are even above that. And as this continues into the late evening of Friday into Saturday, these helicity values start to get double the required amount for these supercells. And this is something to really watch out for. This giant swath here of very strong storm relative helicity in this area. So definitely something to watch out for. The environment is ripe for these strong showers and thunderstorms to at least sustain if they form. The key word is, though, is if they form, because most of the models right now have been really, really modest about whether or not these showers and thunderstorms could form. But still something to watch out for, though, regardless. If the environment is right, it's better to be safe than sorry, if you know what I mean. But still something to really watch out for as this continues to move about. So now we're going to quickly move on to the snow. You can see, of course, the timing is above me, so subtract an hour if you are in Central Daylight Time. Of course, we got a lot of that snow that I was talking about in the Rockies from that low pressure system that's in California. So that verification is still true. And you can see as this continues to progress from Friday into the late evening hours of Friday as well. Look at this, very heavy snow and even some sleet and freezing rain as well in the portions of Nebraska and Iowa. But otherwise, a very strong snowstorm that's going to move on through and even threaten portions of the Great Lakes as well. Of course, you can see how deep those blues are. And so that really does indicate that you guys will potentially have a strong snowstorm. Potentially not anything major per se, but you guys could get some strong damaging winds with it, as well as some blinding snowy conditions. So visibility could be very low in some instances, creating some hazardous weather. So here's some of the snow totals here for this snowfall event. You can see some of the pinks indicating above a foot of snow within some spots. So definitely something to watch out for that. Of course, you have the residual snowfall amounts, which will continue to move on through into Ontario and Quebec. So if you are in those areas north of the St. Lawrence River, north of the Great Lakes of Erie and Ontario, then you guys might get some snowfall from this event as well. As you guys saw in the simulated radar, of course, we have sleet that could be an issue as well. Sleet could be in upwards of 1 inch, so definitely something to watch out for that. Maybe even 2 inches in some spots as well. So some slippery conditions from the sleet department. And then if we go over to the freezing rain, that of course could be an issue as well, with some freezing rain amounts could be almost in upwards of 1.5 inches. So definitely something that is really concerning there from that department. But most of the freezing rain is going to be up here into portions of Quebec and the Northeast. So definitely something to watch out for, but still something to really monitor if you live into portions of the Midwest into the Northern Plains. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am going to be uploading a video tomorrow morning giving you guys the timings of the event. So I won't be going into how much cape, I won't be going into how much wind shear there is there, because that's what I've been doing for the past couple of days. I feel like once we get to the day of the event, that should be when this stuff is going to be happening rather than how it's happening. So if you guys are excited for that, or if you want to stay tuned to the channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on channel notifications, because I will be going live later on that day so that I may be able to keep you guys safe from these storms that could potentially be very strong. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video if you did enjoy. Share this with friends and family and on social media. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone.